So what I'd like to do is see if we have a few questions, and I'm going to see if I can get my screen in a way that I can figure this out. Okay, and some of these questions might go back a few minutes, and so we're going to do what we need to do here. So let me see where we are. Okay, well, I hope people were able to see this. How can we make suggestions about the website? Today we're talking about the compensation plan. Define builder, leader, premier. Okay. Define builder, leader, premier. These are pay ranks that where when someone gets started in their business and they get 2 people, they become an associate. When they get a 3rd person, they become a builder. That's what I was going through, early on, and maybe this has already been answered now. When they get that 3rd person, they're a builder. When they get that 6th person, they're a leader. When they get the 10th person, they're a premier. You can also become leader by getting 2 people and help develop them to the status of builder. Okay, that means each one of them have to sponsor 3 people. Or take 5 people and help them all get to builder. Those 5 who get 3 each will also make you a premier. And so those are the way that we advance. And what's the benefit of being builder over leader over, or premier over builder or premier over leader, is that you're going to get paid deeper in the matrix, and you also get improved percentages on some of those other parts of the plan that we discussed. Oh, I clicked on the wrong thing here. But anyway, I'll just leave that up right there. OMG. Well, Pope, is that a question? Or I guess those exclamation marks don't represent questions. So, okay. Is this only the 3rd position, not the 4th personally sponsored or 5th? I wish I knew exactly what you were talking about there, Bob. Is this the 3rd position? Okay, I get you. When I was showing that image, okay, of in fact, maybe what I can do here is go to that screen and put that up for you here. Let me back up a little bit. Whoop. Oh, wouldn't you know it? Let me just end the show and go back to this here for you. Okay, hopefully you can see that. Hopefully my other little question marks here aren't going over it. But we talk about a 3rd, a 4th. This is for a 5th, for a 6th, for a 400th, for an 8,000th person that you've enrolled. Okay, there's no limit here. Just like there's no limit, in terms of this screen. You get this whole line of coding here, coded matching bonus on your 3rd person. You get this whole line of coding again on the 4th person. You get this whole line of coded match again for the 5th, the 8th, the 100th, the 200th person that you personally enrolled. This dynamic is for each individual from your 3rd person on to infinity. So it's incredibly powerful. Can you upgrade to Edge Plus? You can do a number of things with the Edge. Okay, you can either buy in at the Edge. You can buy in at the Edge Plus. You can buy the Edge, and you can enroll 12 people and become Edge Plus qualified based on sweat. Okay, based on your ability to enroll. If you purchase the Fast Track package, there are other options that make you eligible for the Edge or the Edge Plus. Everybody who bought a Fast Track period is eligible for the Edge. Okay, that was a program that we had before the Edge. If you fast track and have 10 enrollments, you're Edge Plus eligible right now. Okay, so there are some things like that. So yes, you definitely can. It's not really an upgrade. It's just do the requirement. Okay, and if you haven't bought any of those packages at all, then yes, you can do it anytime you want. The company never came up and said, you have to do this in your first 21 days or you lose the opportunity. Thank goodness we didn't have a company that puts those kind of barriers in front of people. It seems that the first 4 people one signs up are critically important. Let me move this up. Oh, where we go. What if they happen to be very sick, elderly people who only purchase product and not produce? It seems their sponsor will lose several benefits in the comp plan. If people come into our program all the time that are really more customers than they are builders, And I think the company is working right now on designing a customer plan that will help kind of keep those customers in more or less a customer bucket and not, kind of gum up your matrix, your business strategy, if you will. There's ways to work around all that. It's a little bit more of a complicated question, but here's what you need to understand about it. There is something called dynamic compression. And so it does give you the ability to have people that come in, maybe try the product, maybe they don't continue. You don't have to worry about those spots. They compress for pay. If you have somebody who's all they're ever going to be is a customer, and they never want to enroll anybody, but they're keeping your matrix expanded, well, maybe there's going to be an opportunity for you to say to that person, you know what? Let me just put your order in on my own auto ship, and we'll just send you out of my, we'll figure out another way to do it where you can have that position compress and improve your income by not having a customer expanding out your matrix. But I think the company is looking at some different strategies on that, Mary, and hopefully that will help, and we can address that as we go. Can you purchase the Edge Pack if you have been in for a while? Yep, you can purchase the Edge Pack any day you want. And here's the good news, and I don't know if you all know this. You can buy that Edge package, can be bought as many times as you want. And guess what? If I have Tom on my front line and Tom's a practitioner and he buys an Edge pack every week or an Edge Plus pack every week, I'm going to make $250 in that Edge Plus bonus every week. There's no limit on being able to buy the packages or get the bonuses from the package. What happens, let's see, is the third enrolled has no activity on that downline. And others beyond are active. Okay, if you enrolled a third person, okay, and this person does nothing, in coding, it stops right there, okay, because that has to progress. And if someone stops producing, they simply stop producing. If this person stops, none of the rest of this can happen down here, okay? Because this happens from this person's personal efforts. So the coded match, these things happen because of the duplication of the people that you brought to the table, okay? So let's look at that in this version, okay? Here we have a matrix, okay? So here, if you put somebody in right here, and you continue to build, or actually this is probably the better picture right here. You put people who fall under others, you're going to continue to build. This person, may not do anything, but it doesn't affect the fact that, pay is still being created. Whenever a product is sold down here, it has the potential for this person to make money, this person to make money, this person, and 12 active levels from that order on up. And so from that standpoint, it's not going to, if someone just doesn't work, well, duplication stops at that point. Go find another person. That's kind of the bottom line there. Will there be compression? There is compression. There's compression in basically every element of the plan. So in the matrix, there's what's called dynamic compression. I think I've already explained that, and that was simply that there is, if you have somebody who is in the matrix who's right, let's say this person right here, okay? Let's say everybody on this page right here that you're looking at is active right now with an order. That means this person here is earning money on all these positions. But now this person right here, right under you on the left-hand side, I think you can see my cursor, I hope. This person here becomes inactive. They stop ordering for whatever reason. What happens? Well, this is your first level in your matrix. This is your second. This is your third. If this person stops ordering, these two people right here, this whole organization goes up. These two take the place of the one because they can't choose one. They have to both go up. Dynamic compression means that only in this little part of the matrix, this side of the matrix, because it doesn't affect what's going on over here. This side of the matrix here, this person becomes inactive through not ordering or whatever the case may be. These two raise up. You know what you have now? You have a 3 by 12 matrix. because you have 1, 2, 3 across your front level. And that's what dynamic compression means. It's incredibly powerful, and if you understand that, it helps to relieve a little bit of the angst around your matrix and how that actually works. How long does the Premier rank stay with you when you buy an Edge Plus? When you buy an Edge Plus and you, I think, enroll 4 people, you become Premier for 60 days, and you have 60 days. You're going to earn as a Premier for 60 days, but you have to get the other 6 people. You got to get a total of 10 people or build 2 builders during that 60 days in order for you to maintain the Premier status moving forward. Please explain the difference between level and generation. This is very, very important, Ed. Thank you for that. A level is, I'm going to go here. Level 1, level 2, level 3. These are levels, okay, in a matrix. The matrix is a defined structure with 2, and then 4, and then 8, and then 16. Those are levels, okay? Those are levels of the matrix, okay? You can also look at, and I'm going to go over, let me see here, levels here, okay? This would give you an image of your unilevel, okay? Here, this is your first level, then everyone down here, this is your second level, and then everyone down here, this is your third level, okay? Now, when they talk generations, and different companies use these words differently, and that's why it can be very confusing. So a level in the matrix is one thing, because there you only have 2, and then 4, and then 8, and then 16. A level in your unilevel, you could have 100 people across the first level, and if each one of those 100 got 2 people, you'd have 200 people, right, on your second level, and so forth and so on, all right? So those are levels. What's a generation? All right. Generation would imply that it's within your genealogy, okay, through your personal efforts. So if we look at this program or this layout right here, and we say your first generation, that means your first generation are the people that you have personally sponsored. It's these 4 people. Those 4 people, all their efforts have sponsored these 6 people. This 10, this 10, the 0, the 10, the 10, the 0. These images, this line right here, this is your second level. And in a unilevel plan, the level and the generation are the same thing. Okay? But when in the matrix, it's not. Let me go back to this image. Okay? So here, level 1 could be part of your first generation, but you could have other first generation people in other areas. So let's say, as an example, that you sponsored the first person here on your left and the first person on your right. And now you're going to sponsor your third and your fourth. Now you're going to sponsor your next person. Forget this image over here. We're looking at the right side. You've sponsored these first 2, and now you're going to sponsor your third person. Your third person, because this is the matrix, has to go underneath one of these open areas. And you see right here where it goes, it lands underneath the first person on the right. This person is directly sponsored by you, which would tell you it's your first generation. But in the matrix, it's your second level. This is your first level, this is your second level, and so on. So in the matrix, you can have someone that's in your first generation, but it could be on your second level, could be on your 5th level, could be on your 43rd level, okay? But in the unilevel, this image right here, your level and your generation are the same, okay? So I hope that was clarifying. Okay, I love it when people are sending me text messages and messages during my presentation. Why are they showing me? Okay, when I look, okay, also when I look at my enrolled, they are showing more on the chart as under and under rather than across like you're showing. Okay, yes, here's the deal. The current back office site with the tools and the reporting that we have do not show this like I'm showing it to you right now. The new tool set in our new back office should be much better at giving you a graphic display in a way that you can look at it and say, uh-huh, I get it. I see what John's saying. You see it in a different way. Emily, your microphone's unmuted. So you see it in a different way, and that's what's important is that we're going to be able to get our graphic display understanding with how I'm showing it to you here. So don't judge that at the moment. Okay. I'm told it's not legs. I'm used to in other organizations. Can you explain the difference? Okay. You know what? We all have been through different companies that use different words. Some use legs, some use, lines, some use, the generational tree branch, whatever. I mean, there's just the bottom line is anytime you personally enroll somebody, you're creating a new leg in your organization. Okay. And in your unilevel, you see all your legs kind of going one, right across your front line. And so it is legs. In the matrix, someone will say to you matrix, well, in a matrix, if it's a 2-by, like a binary meaning two, not binary in terms of how we get paid, okay? It's two. And so they'll say, we got two legs. You got a left leg and a right leg. And in the matrix, from an understanding of the structure, that's true. But that has nothing to do with your personal legs. All right. So I hope that makes sense. How does this impact my downline? I have enrolled 11, but most have chosen not to continue with the product. Well, I don't know how it impacts your organization. Which part? I don't know where that question actually came from, Darlene. So you'd have to restate that for me. But bottom line is, how does any of this affect you? How does any of this affect your income? How does any of this affect your organization? Well, the more you do, the more duplication you have, the better the effect is. The lesser amount that you do, the less duplication you have, the less impact any of this has on your group, on your paycheck. And so that's kind of it's the only way I can really say it. Is there a new car bonus? Mike, I thought you would have had this information, but there's a livelihood kind of prosperity program that's in its final assembly right now. The car program was going to start at the Super Saturday. As soon as they heard this idea from one of our lovely council members, they said, you know what? It totally resonates. This is a game changer for the industry. And so they put the brakes on the car program, literally. And they said, this is going to stand alone in the industry. And so I'm very excited about that decision. Can't wait for it to be released. Are these new slides available? Blah, 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 blah. There are some new slides available. All you got to do is go to our corporate website, which I know is under some construction. But if you go and you look under the compensation part, you can download the PDF. It's going to show you, like for an example, this image that you're looking at on the screen right now is in that new system. What is the total payout? Good question. You can go through and take each one of these elements of the plan and you can assign a percentage to it, and you can actually do that. In the industry, there's something called breakage. Most plans don't pay out 100% of what they show on paper because not everybody qualifies for every level. There are different directions that a company can go. They can say, hey, we have a guaranteed payout of 40%. And we're going to pay out every penny of that. And their comp plan is restricted just to that type of payout. Other companies might promote 60 or 70 or 80 or 100 or 120% payout, okay, knowing that they can't really pay out 120%, but with breakage, they end up paying out a number that the company can afford. Most companies, pay somewhere between probably 38 and 46% payout, and in reality, our payout is higher than that. I don't have the corporate numbers to release to you in terms of what they actually pay out, but on paper, if you were to add this all up, and anybody can do the math, our potential payout is in the 80th percentile somewhere. So that's something that you can certainly pencil out. Is it better to replace an inactive member or just wait for compression? That's an interesting question. It depending, and I think it's too. There's a lot of strategic aspects to that question, Cindy, and I guess the way to address that, maybe to look at that with you specifically to give you advice there. But compression is a very powerful thing. You can actually increase the size of your matrix through compression, but it also can double your work. Okay. And so not double it can double your work in the sense that if you're putting people if you're depending on your matrix for all your income, and you have a lot more spots to fill in order to still get the dynamic experience of filling the matrix. And so that's a relatively complicated question, one that I'm certainly happy to entertain with you, directly. But compression is there working for us all the time. You don't have to wait for compression. It's there, being active, working to your benefit every minute of every day. What about the volume? Let's see. What about volume on your left side and right side in the matrix? Do you have to balance CV? Excellent question. With the matrix, okay. People confuse. Sometimes they look at a 2x12 matrix and they look at a 2x matrix and they go, oh, it's a binary, and automatically their binary mindset sets in. They think about balancing 1/3, 2/3, and flushing and all the rest of this. We are not a binary. We have no pay in respect to a binary. What we do have, the only thing that's relevant to the matrix and how it fills currently is the rewards and bonuses. The reward and bonuses says that you have to have a 60-40 distribution in your matrix in order to qualify to be a director, silver, gold, platinum, etc. What that actually, what they're trying to say is they wanted to create emphasis where you had to help people on both sides of your business. You didn't just, there's no reason why we wouldn't want to build a matrix from both sides, because if we were to go down one side, if you think about a binary, in a binary, levels don't matter. They're only looking at the relationship of your business in terms of a volume percentage from the left side to the right side. Okay. And it doesn't matter how deep it is because it's only looking left or right. In our company, our matrix cuts off on the, get paid on the 12th level, don't get paid on the 13th. Compression allows us to dig deeper, okay, down to our 14th, our 15th, our 20th level. We could be digging down and getting paid that deep in the matrix because of compression. Okay, but in terms of the left and right side, you don't want to just build one side or build down the outside legs of your matrix, because you'll push out the volume too soon. So you want to keep it up as high as possible in the matrix, but you're not hurt if one side is stronger than the other. You're still going to get paid on all that volume. The directorship requires a balance of no more skewed than 60-40. So what if it's 50-50? Fabulous. What if it's, 55-45? Fabulous. If it's 70-30, you're not going to qualify for the director pay, the director designation. Okay. How long does a Premier rank stay with you when you buy an Edge Plus package? If you're fast tracking to that Premier status, it's 60 days. Okay, but you have to solidify it with actually fully completing the requirements criteria. The second person in the matrix came from love from above, and this person has not ordered in months. Should I see about getting this person removed, or does this compress? I don't need to have him removed. Okay. The second person, I'm just make sure I got this right. The second person in my matrix came from love from above. So I would imagine that if the second person came in from love from above, that doesn't, and they're not doing anything, they compress and they're a non-issue. It's a non-event. Okay. There's nothing to remove. And if you have people underneath that person, they can't remove them. And here's why. If you have one person and then you got two underneath and you remove that one, who are you going to move up? Okay. So compression is your friend. Compression puts two in place of the one, and it's good. So leave it alone. I think you answered the third person for me when you said that, the third person bonus tricks. Okay. All right. Very good. Thank you. I now understand. Perfect. Glad. Does the 30-day money back apply only to the 3-pack? No, I don't believe it does. And I don't want to give you the actual nitty gritty on that one. I would recommend that you get that information directly from corporate on the money back guarantee. Okay. How do I find my upline in the back office? You can't find your upline. You can find your enroller in your profile in your back office. And I have encouraged the company to put a person's upline contact, at least at a certain level, into the back office because people need to know how to go upline for information. I'm tireless about that kind of stuff. And what I'm going to tell you is what I tell my team, you've got to take it upon yourself. If you want to find the person that knows, call your sponsor. Ask your sponsor who their sponsor is, and work your way all the way up to Stan Holden, and find out who's there to help you. And that's what I would encourage. Okay. Do matrix matches start after your one of your first two get there? First two to start. Okay. Yeah. Okay. The matrix match, it cannot start until that person that you brought in sponsors their first two people. Because if they don't sponsor their first two people, guess what? They don't get a matrix check and you have nothing to get a match on. So as soon as they start getting a check for the matrix, you get a match on their matrix check, the first two people that you enrolled. If Premier has been reached, but 10 people have not been sponsored in 60 days. Okay. If Premier has been reached, but 10 people have not been sponsored in 60 days, is Premier title lost or is income decreased? If your Premier status came from the Edge or the Edge Plus special, in other words, enroll 4, buy the Edge Plus, enroll 4, and get Premier, and you haven't sponsored 10 in 60 days, yes, you lose the title and your income is decreased. Okay, it's a fast track. It's an opportunity for you to get that little benefit and hopefully give you enough energy to get through that process and maintain it moving forward. Yes. Once your matrix is full and compressed, is there a benefit in the matrix to sponsor more personal solution? Well, I hope, Glenn, that the understanding of the coded and the coded match is an understanding of the value and the building of the team even after the matrix is full. If your matrix literally is full and it's totally compressed and you're making, your whatever that would be, if you have a 2-by matrix with no compression but it's all solid and everyone's buying a couple boxes a month, you're talking about a $14,000-15,000 a month income. Okay. If you have compression and you end up collapsing some things, you're going to end up with a whole lot more people in there. That very same matrix, with the 2 boxes purchased with compression could be yielding you $20,000, $25,000, $30,000 a month with compression. That's possible. And so, but what happens when you have all those spaces full and you're going, where is this new person going to go? You're going to put in a new person and you're going to go, oh my gosh, this new person's on my 14th level. He's not even in my matrix. And you kind of say, well, that's a bummer. There's two things I'm going to tell you here. Number one, the power of the other elements of the plan which relate to the unilevel are all in full force and effect, and you get every swinging penny of generational pay, or the leadership bonus, the global pools, how that contributes into that, how in terms of share value or acquiring more shares, you get every bit of coded match. Their volume counts for all your directorship awards and all the rest of it. There's always discussion in the company looking at how they might provide some kind of expanded matrix model that might allow you to include that person in a new position in your matrix. But as of today, what I've already stated exists, which is an amazing complement of things to earn from. Will you be updating the Egg of Life sites for us? I have nothing to do with that. Will there be a DVD? I don't know. Um, Sorry, some of the questions I'm not answering because they're not related to the comp plan, and I apologize. I just don't have answers. That's not our intention this morning. Please explain automatic placement versus our choosing placement when we enroll people. Here's what I'm going to tell you right now. The best tip I can give you is your back office should be set on auto, left and right. There was previously a bug in the system that if you had a designated left or designated right, it was placing that person down an outside leg on your left or right, pushing people out of your matrix, which is not good. So you should have it set on auto. And then if you are enrolling people, my recommendation is that you go in and place those people individually and check after you've enrolled someone and make sure that you check where that person landed. And if you have an issue with it, call corporate immediately. Very generous compensation plan that rewards the right activity to support your people being successful. Get them on a 3-way call. Thank you. I think that's great tips. Commission structure is amazing. I'm not sure what the new added bonus is compared to what we had before. Could you please tell me what's new and improved? Okay. Well, just very basically, the answer here, Sharon, in terms of what was and what is that the coded matching bonus used to be a 5-level in the unilevel pay structure. Okay. Now it's unlimited levels deep in the unilevel. Okay, so that is huge. If you understand that it wasn't based on following coding before, it was 5 levels of the unilevel. Now it follows code to unlimited levels in depth. The next one is the leadership matching bonus. That's new. The third one is the shares in the global pool. We're getting down to the end of them here. Corporate said matches did not start until they got their third person. Okay. Corporate said matches did not start until they got their third person. That is not correct. And either the person you talked to didn't understand the question or you didn't understand the answer. So the bottom line is, if we're talking about now, okay, I apologize. That I think I answered that incorrectly. Because you didn't identify which part of the compensation plan you were referring to. And since I was just talking about the match on the matrix, we may have a misunderstanding. So let me clarify. The matrix match, which is a match on your first 2 people's matrix bonus, only requires you sponsoring 2 people and those 2 people being able to earn a matrix bonus. Then you get the match, period. No third person required, okay? In order for you to get coded match, you don't even have coding until you sponsor a third person. So you have to sponsor a third person to start a code, and that person has to actually get a third person in order for you to start coded match, okay? So I hope that's helpful. Thanks, Neva. After you sponsor 4, okay, so the 60 days starts after you sponsor 4. My understanding, and I'm going to say it that way because there's a slight margin for error there, that when you buy that fast track package or whatever, I'm not sure actually if you have 60 days from the date you buy it, or you have 60 days from the date that you get 4, or whether you have to get 4 within the 60 days, which then starts a 60-day clock. So I'm a little fuzzy on that one. I apologize. I hate being fuzzy about anything. So I'll get an answer on that. Deborah, I'd like you to clarify what you think was an error because I'm not seeing it. To receive the leadership bonus, is that on matrix volume? Okay, the leadership bonus is based on the unilevel, okay, is not based on the matrix. Once you get, let's just go through this really quickly. And I'm going to go through each element of the plan just verbally here very quickly. The retail bonus based on your activity, that's on your own retail sales. Okay, it doesn't matter where they are. The second thing is a fast start. Fast start is paid on your personal activity. Doesn't matter if it's in the matrix or the unilevel. It's just based on your enrollment. The matrix is paid. The matrix bonus is paid on the matrix. Okay, and that is where that element comes from. Okay, it's based on the matrix, so it comes from not just your work, but the work of others that fall into your downline. The matrix match is based on the matrix. Okay, and it's based on the what's happening underneath you and those first two people getting paid. Okay, and when they get paid based on the activity underneath them, it pays you a matrix match. So that's based on the matrix. When we get to coding is based on the unilevel. Okay, so this is based on your direct tree of activity. All right, and that's very important. The coded match is based on your genealogy, on your activity, and that duplication that happens in the unilevel. The leadership bonus, that happens based on what you create and how that duplication occurs in the unilevel. The matrix matching bonus is based on what you create, what you duplicate in the unilevel. The global pool is based on you acquiring the shares. You acquire shares by having people in your generational tree, in your unilevel, and that duplication advancing and earning shares in the pool. The director levels, those are based on the matrix at this time, and that's how those are paid out. Okay, and so hopefully that review has been helpful. So that being said, let's just see what else we have here. Edge, once you special edge. Yeah, if you're using the Edge or the Edge Plus as a quick step to Premiere, you still have to get there in its full version, and you can take as long, even if you got in and you intended to do some stuff, but something happened in your life and you couldn't get there. Okay, so maybe that window of 60 days has passed and closed, and or maybe you got there, but then you never finished the rest of the journey, whatever time frame that is. You can pick it back up and get to Premiere any day you want. When you get your next 6 people and you get a total of 10, Premiere you are, and you're good to go. If my volume is currently lopsided, would it be essential to enroll new peeps on the lesser side or leave it on auto? Will it do that for me? If it's on auto, it should do that for you. In theory, I know that with this new version of the back office, which is going to be up very, very quickly, you're going to have a selection of placement options, which are going to be very clear and directive that will function perfectly. So at this point, I would say put it on auto and just watch where those people are going. And if you need to get somebody moved, get them moved. Okay, and hopefully that will be a non-issue here very, very quickly. All right. Very good. Well, I think we've gotten to the end of the questions. If there are any other questions, this would be a good time to throw in. And I'm amazed we still have a lot of people on the call here, and you guys have shown some incredible endurance today. I appreciate that, and I think your business is going to appreciate that more than anything else. So, is it recorded? I have technical problems. Well, it is recorded. How that will be available remains to be seen. You're welcome, you're welcome, you're welcome, everyone. We all want to know how to get paid. Well, I hope this was helpful in that. So anyway, thank you everyone for being with me today. I really appreciate the time that you all have taken to just invest in your own business. I think that's the main part here. That's the main point. And as long as you do that, there's going to be plenty of growth to be had, plenty of things to enjoy, plenty of abundance and blessings to share. And I just want to just encourage you all to be involved, to stay in the conversation, to get to enjoy the benefit and the fruit of your labors, and to help other people know that this is accessible, that it's possible, and that with a little bit of elbow grease and leaning into it, and commitment to the time and sustaining an activity, yields the greatest rewards. So thank you very much. I appreciate everyone. Have a great day. Bye-bye.